Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is WvW. In today's video we're talking about the main build I use for Druid World vs World. It is a roaming build condition, the ultimate bleeder in this game. The best condition user for bleed, in my opinion, is Druid or Soul Beast. And let's face it, Druid just have much more potential because of Ancient Seed anyway. So this is what I call it now. Or you can call it by the older name, which is the Brave Druid. This one I tried to go a little bit even farther from PvE style choices like the Agony Sigil and stuff. I was hesitant to do it because in this one I would try to abuse everything possible, every edge that can be given to a condition style build. But here we are, and even so the sustained damage is a little bit less, but the overall functionality and survivability is better, so I am not looking back. But feel free to use whatever build you want. If you want to use my old build, if you want to use this build, if you want to use the sword dagger one, go right ahead. You will have the links to everything in the description, and even the cards roaming on this one. You, like always, we're gonna have timestamps. Feel free to use it because there's going to be a lot of information in this video. Now, if you're familiar with this build, you're going to know some of the things I'm going to be talking about. If this is your first time getting to it or you're new to Ranger, so try to listen to every details and every point I have to go in. Without further ado, let's get right into it. For my choices, I go with Staff and Shortbow, and I use Troll Ingwint, Lightning Reflexes, Sharpened Stone, Glyph Equality, and Entangle. You could, in this build, we will explain it in the trait and stuff, you could use, instead of Troll Ingwint, the Healing Spring, but you're gonna take the trait that supported, Trap Expertise. And you could switch Glyph of Equality for Quickening Zephyr for more survivability or kiting if a lot of people keep chasing you, but I would advise against it. In this update, we do not need Quickening Zephyr at all. So this is mostly how you would run it. But against a lot of condition, if you feel like you need it, if you're helping other people, you could go with the trap. This is about it. For bits, you will always go with gazal, you will not change it. You could go with iboga or you could go with electric wyvern. I do use both in this build. In the older build, I couldn't use iboga for some reasons. I said I made it in a video why I don't use iboga, and those problems with iboga are all still consistent. But the defensive abilities that we get from higher CC because of electric wyvern is not that much needed now, so we can actually use iboga, and I explain it once I come back to the bits. So this is the choices that you see here. Now let's go about the trait. I go with Skirmishing, Wilderness Survival, and Druid. For Druid, we go with Druid Clarity, Celestial Shadows, and Ancient Seed. Druid, you get Celestial Avatar that can fill upon either power damage or healing only. In heal, it is even higher than power damage, but it doesn't work on condition damage. That's why we have healing power, we heal a lot, we use a staff so we can fill it quickly. And this is why you're gonna feel like almost between 20 to 30% of survivability in higher tier fights come from a food like this. Gain health every second. You have to manage a way to fill Celestial Avatar fast. This is why I use Tropical Peppermint Cake or any food like it, and another one for condition damage. Now, for Druid Clarity, never choose any other one. In any competitive mode, whether you play PvE, whether you play World vs World, whether you're Rumor, whether you're a Zerger, always take Druid Clarity. The extra healing from this, the staff stuff, like there is few builds that can use stuff like this, but mostly it is a safe option for you to go with Druid Clarity. And since we are a Rumor, then there is no place for any other trait. This one is really strong. Once you go to Celestial Avatar, you cleanse every condition, and you will be able to go to Celestial Avatar like every 20 seconds or something. Now, for the other one, this minor gives us heal. We heal ourselves on a cooldown of 1 second every time we heal an ally. Our bit work as an ally. So every time we use Troll Ingwint to heal our bit, every time he get regeneration or we heal it through other skill, it counts as this. Now, for Celestial Shadows, every time we leave Celestial Avatar, everyone around us will get stealth and super speed, including us, and including our pet if it's next to us, which is really effective through repositioning and kiting. The last one in minor is increase outgoing healing to other allies, and our bit count as an ally, it's up to 10%. but it doesn't count for us, so we don't get the extra healing. And lastly, the beautiful skill Ancient Seed. It is on a 10-second cooldown that will trigger an exact skill to your entangle. It can be triggered on a single target or 5 targets through the use of Celestial Avatar, skill 3 and then skill 5, or any skill that would hit multiple target after a disable to multiple target. So using something like Glyph of Equality and then Celestial Avatar 5, or anything like that will, or even using Glyph Equality and triggering the Rune of Krite, it will trigger the elite skill through Rune of Krite. It will trigger Entangle on everyone, but the elite skill using the Krite itself, the damage that happens from it, will trigger Ancient Seed. So anything, I will leave the link to explain Entangle and everything about it in the description if you want to go really deep in understanding this skill or how to use it optimally. Now, for Wellness Survival, we get extra 25% to our endurance regeneration. This yellow bar that we use to dodge attacks is just a quarter faster on regeneration. And in this build we have a lot of vigor. Through this one, 10 second on 24-second cooldown, which mean more 50% to our endurance regeneration. And also primary reflexes give us 4 seconds of also 50 regeneration vigor, even on a cooldown of 8 seconds every time we dodge an attack. So once you see this white evade word appear on your head once you dodge an attack, you will get a vigor. 4 seconds every 8 seconds, so you're only 4 seconds down in the fight, and you can gain more from this one, so that means a lot of the time you're gonna have just vigor most of the time, unless it's corrupted. Besides the permanent one, so you have a lot. And you don't only have 2 dodges, you have this skill to dodge, you have lightning reflex to dodge, and we use the sigil of energy that will give us a full dodge every time we go to staff. The second choice, the first choice is here, lesser muddy terrain. In this build, it is not worth it to go to any other choice, but I will say you can go for Test for Danger, but the extra condition cleanse, the immobilize that immediately under your feet, the extra condition to cover and annoy your enemy with a slow and cripple is just beautiful. And you can use it effectively also if you heal and just walk. It will leave a muddy terrain behind you. That means for people to go cross it, they will be crippled, so it will be harder to follow you. Or even immobilized if they were really short to catch the first balls. Or you go around it, that means the distance is longer, that means it is good for kiting. This skill can be used to multiple things, not only an extra condition cleanse or a survival ability. And if you go trap, please don't use Test for Danger. Test for Danger on a trap is just a bad choice. The trap healing is already a low heal. You don't need more vitality to simply keep building to it. It's against the idea. You need more toughness, you need the damage that hit you become less, and with extra condition cleanse, so you don't take that much from the condition and you don't take that much from power, so the low health pool become effective to use a low healing skill for it. And also, since you stand on your trap, you won't be able to be slowed, crippled, immobilized. You want to annoy them around you as much as possible and make it hard for them to affect you. So if you go trap, this is even a more reason to not let go of lesser muddy terrain, and I might even explain a lot about the trap later or in a separate video, because this is gonna take too much if I go into the trap also. Anyway, after that we get the protection on dodge and rug growth. Those two traits work in a great synergy with each other. We already explained how they help fill Celestial Avatar and the point that they heal our bit even if bit is dead, which is the only way to heal dead bits is through this trait, and that means it will help even fill your Celestial Avatar. It is just beautiful. This one gives you 2 seconds of protection after every dodge, and this one will make every second of protection heal you and your bit. You and your bit get the protection, you and your bit get the healing, and you count both healing for Celestial Avatar. Which why you sometimes see me like randomly in a fight dodge like this. It's not just a noob dodge or anything. I try to get the protection, since the second hit that will happen, or if someone try to burst you or something, you would be already dodged the hit and it will hit over a protection. And I do it to get the healing to fill Celestial Avatar. Sometimes Celestial Avatar is just way too more important than you dodging the right skill, because if you don't have Celestial Avatar up and you dodge your skill or you didn't, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you get cleaved by condition or hits you don't see in an outnumber fight, and City Avatar was the only way to save your life. So the best way I do it through that, I try to always have one bar empty. So now if I really need to dodge effectively, I can just do that. Or I can use the other dodge. And guess what? People can't pull the third dodge from me because I can simply go to staff and have an extra dodge because of energy surge. Besides, you have enlightening reflexes, and I can get this bar to fill so fast. And even if I dodge a silly auto attack or something, I would still trigger primary reflexes, which mean I would have vigor and I would gain this dodge too fast too. Like it will just come back immediately. But having full dodge like this, waiting to be like professional enough to just dodge when you need, is not as effective, because the lowest damage you have is an opportunity to fill Celestial Avatar faster through a protection. And sometimes it's good to dodge to heal your bit or grant a protection so it doesn't die and you get incredibly punished for it. So don't be shy using your dodges, but just don't spam them. Now, for the second choice, we have ambidexterity, which give us 120 condition damage, which is way more effective than having poison. If our health is above 75%, it will give you more damage in everything. You count on bleed more. It's reliable all the time. It cannot be stripped. It's just a pure buff. This one is not so good. So always go with ambidexterity. We don't use dagger or anything or torch, so we don't get the rest of the value, but it is way more effective than this one. Now lastly, we go with wilderness knowledge, since we're using all our skill as survival, and even if you go with sometime quickening zephyr, it is even more of a reason. And we get even lesser muddy terrain on healing skill, which means everything is get cooldown decreased by 20%, and 2 condition cleanses. It is a necessity with most, if not all, let's say most. Some builds can stay without it, but most ranger builds need this trait. Now, lastly, for skirmishing, the main source for our damage and stuff. We already explained the swiftness and fury on weapon swap. We don't care about the fury at all, it is worthless to us. But the swiftness gives us our mobility through those 2 skills. And we go with primary reflexes as choice, and we can go with trapper expertise if you want to use the trap. For most fight, you don't need the trap. Every skill, cleanse condition, Celestial Avatar cleanse condition, switching to staff cleanse condition, since we'll be using cleansing sigil. So you don't use it. Even inside Celestial Avatar, you can cleanse a lot of conditions. So most times, if you play your cards right, you will not need it. And you don't need to sacrifice the incredibly higher healing and effectiveness through roll and going for it. I will be comparing them right now. This one have less than 6k heal, and don't get fooled by the regeneration. It will be stripped, it will be corrupted, or you won't get all of it because you have to get out of your trap, because you will be running out of your trap. So not all the time you will get the regeneration, and the regeneration is not that strong to simply sustain you to incredible power burst or even condition burst. So the trap will always be lower healing. It can be comboed with stuff like blasts and stuff like this, and that's maybe the only way, but it's even less mobile. If you waste Ancestral Grace to blow it inside the trap, that means now you're forced to simply walk on your feet and people will be following you and cleaving you just from the back. So it can give you some problems. Yes, it can be used with Celestial Avatar for better use, and it is one of its advantage in it, but similarly it's not that high of a damage, high of a healing. Troll Anguit, on the other hand, will trigger this trait for every boss. Once you use it, you trigger this one even without healing, which means your bit get extra healed, and it will heal you and your bit for an interval of a second on 8 seconds. So 8 times it will trigger this trait, which means more healing to you. So it doesn't heal for the number on it, it adds this to it 8 times basically, which really high number. It is already can reach like on this adjusted, because I have lower healing power now, it's like 10k or something, so it is really effective for a druid. But like I said, trap is really good. I might explain later in a separate video or something the right way to use it, or how to really get it to efficiency, since I see most people actually using it wrong. Like a lot of rangers, I would say the majority of rangers doesn't know how to use trap, healing traps the proper way. Now, for the second trait that we use is hidden barbs. bleeding you inflict increased by 33%. This skill is about 2k single hit. If you go otherwise, it's now like lost a quarter of its power or something, because I have an extra duration from other sources and stuff. So it's like if you change from this trait, you lost about 25% of your damage. For the other traits are basically power, so it is simply this one is a must. It is the essence of bleeding ability on ranger. And the last one, this one is power for critical chance and damage, so it's worthless to us. And the last one is light on your feet. Don't, on a staff short bow, just don't go quick draw. If you do that, honestly, it's not worth it, believe me. 66% lower cooldown to a single skill that you already increased. Like those skills, 4 skills got increased duration. Instead of lower 20%, it is now half the extra 20%. For a single skill to have 66% lower, to be almost spammed, this one lost the vulnerability, the other one lost the effectiveness on a flanking, the extra damage. You don't have piercing, you only can fight a single target now. Even your dodge take a longer cooldown and a swiftness source. You might make the staff a little bit stronger through spamming this skill, because now on a fight, if you have quick draw and you use the staff like this and switch the bit on the last, it appears before you, it will lower the 5-second cooldown and it will count quick draw, so it will be immediately off cooldown. So it's a neat trick, but that's about it. More survivability, more movement. That's an overkill that you don't need, and you just ruined your damage. You already have low damage as it is. Light on your feet is a must if you use short bow, and short bow is almost a must if you play condition ranger, so this trait is irreplaceable. It will give you also light on your feet effect itself on dodge, or use this skill, which means 10% extra to your condition duration, which doesn't appear here or on your skill, but it does work for 4 seconds, so it is even more effective. Your skills pierce, your damage is higher, you have more effectiveness. Like this vulnerability is not just for your damage, it is also a cover condi, so it just works nicely with itself. Now this is for the traits. Let's go into the equipment. For the first time, we have a full armor, a short bow, and a back trailblazer. If you remember, we used to only use short bow and the back, but everything else had healing on it. But this time I lowered the healing, and it took me some really serious time to really calculate and measure how much I need from healing, condition and stuff like this, and I think I accurately got it to a really decent point with what I have here. So the armor, short bow and back are all trailblazer. I still use Chrono, which give us condition and bleed duration, and make our elite skill trigger torment and poison and extra bleed stack on everything around us, which count as a hit even so it doesn't hit in itself, to trigger something like Ancient Seed on every target. Like if you use Glyph of Equality and immediately hit with it, the second hit, everything around you will get hit by it and trigger Ancient Seed on them and Entangle on them, and with something like Sharpened Stone, it just go nuts. And I still use the Healing Infusion from WvW. It lowers the damage that we take from everything in the world outside the world, like guards, lords, and stuff like that. And it's extra healing to help us, and we can sustain a fight around those mobs. I have my amulet, rings, an accessory, and staff, all apothecary, with toughness, condition damage, and healing major. So I have more healing on staff actually, since it is not really the damage weapon that I use, and because I need effectively sustain through it, so I keep to myself more healing on it. But in this time, we're not going to be using it exclusively for healing. We don't go from damage mode to heal mode like we used to. Actually, we'll be using sometimes Hasty Avatar on short bow, but that once we get to it. Now for staff, I use Cleansing and Energy Sigil. I used to use Cleansing Energy Sigil, and I kept Agony to increase bleed duration. But like I said, I wanted to step away from the PvE choices. So I went with Cleansing this time, and the increased survivability that this move just did was unbelievable sometimes. Especially for some classes, like Condition Revenant became, instead of really hard to kill, almost easy to kill at this point. The idea is that you can face tank them, so you prevent the effectiveness of Torment, cleanse to their face, force them to stand on your melee, taking more hits, more damage, more covered, all your CC land on them, and then simply enter Sesty Avatar to trigger the skill of Sesty Avatar to blind them, cleanse more, daze more, immobilize more, get out so they try to give you condition or stuff. You would be only using Sesty Avatar obviously to cleanse the conditions that they give you back. But now you leave Sesty Avatar with no condition you, and you just keep hitting. And once they try to put a burst on you again, you switch to Staff and boom, condition is gone. Or something like Sharpened Stone or stuff, you cleanse about 5 condition and that's almost everything they have. And you can immediately start kiting, get your bit next to you like that, and they are immobilized back there. They can't give you the conditions the second time now. And you can CC them again, immobilize them again, and they are dead. So it changed how some of the classes would fight this build in a drastic way, in a way. The new choices for Sigil, which is how this build changed. What changed a lot about it was through the gear and how now we play because the change in the gear. Now for short bow, I go with Doom and Geomancy. Doom is just great overall. Once you switch to your short bow, it gives you a stack on the character that will, let me show you an example. So I hit this thing, I will go to it, that's the stack of Doom. And now the second target you will hit after getting this stack will get the effect of it, which is 8 seconds of poison, 3 stacks of poison. But since we have an extra condition duration, these are not 8 seconds, this is about 11 seconds or something like that. And the second sigil is Geomancy. Geomancy gives us 8 seconds of bleeding, but since we have 73 increased bleed duration, it's more than 40 seconds of bleeding that get affected by this trait. Bleeding you inflict is more than just 33% more damage, which we calculated to about 24 effectiveness. That's mean huge damage. I will show you how much it is on the golems. So I'm here standing between the golems. This one got the old poison. So I switch weapon. Now this one got the bleed and the poison. And look how much it got. Remember, this one is for 10 seconds and more, and this one 430 is for 14 seconds. And this is the effectiveness I'm talking about. Now, let's talk about the downsides of this choice. Doom, you should not change it, whatever, it is just simply effective. It is poison, it's annoying for people to heal while they get struck by it. It just adds to your damage, you can control it as much as you want, so there is no better choice than it. But Geomancy or any sigil that will trigger a hit around you, the stones that appear around my character, I will show it to you again, it would put us in a simple problem. That once we use it, we will trigger a hit around us. That means if we trigger it through Celestial Avatar, it will remove the stealth and it will reveal us. You see, it has a 9-second cooldown, both of those sigils, so on a weapon swipe, it will simply trigger. But everything in the game, if it will change this bar, if it will change those 5 skills, it counts as a weapon swipe. So Celestial Avatar count as a weapon swipe. Engineer kits, Necro Shroud, all this thing count as a weapon swipe. That means if we are on short bow, you will see the stones come around me. This was the trigger the bleed, was the Geomancy sigil. So if we are on short bow, as you see, and we enter Celestial Avatar, we trigger it. If we leave Celestial Avatar now or as fast before 9 seconds, it will not trigger again, we will get the stealth. But if we wait enough, as you see I'm doing, or if we waste too much time and leave, it will trigger again and I'm revealed I didn't get the stealth. This problem can happen. Of course, the idea is simple. Don't stay too much in Celestial Avatar. Actually, it is wrong. You will need to fill too much of it. You don't have enough healing. You would have to kite more than you normally should, and it's not worth it. But the problem arises when you're on staff and you have to switch to short bow and you get bursted with condition, so you enter immediately Celestial Avatar. So now after you leave Celestial Avatar, you will get the effect again. Because you went to short bow, you triggered the sigil, you went to Celestial Avatar, you didn't trigger the sigil because 9 seconds didn't pass, but the amount you spent using the normal skills of short bow combined with the amount of time you spent using some of the Celestial Avatar skills would be above 9 seconds, and now when you leave Celestial Avatar you will trigger the sigils and you will be revealed. This is a minor problem that can happen with this build. You would have to try to avoid it either by staying away from people before leaving Celestial Avatar, or simply trying to kite through other methods, or keep an extra skill to do it again, try to refill Celestial Avatar. Like, you need to be really careful to not fall for this. If you want to reposition, or if you already used your staff, kite away, like this is the enemy, I am away before I use to short bow, I want to be away from people, I get bursted or something, I could kite back and then enter Celestial Avatar. It is just a minor problem. If you feel you're not good enough to use it, or if you don't want to learn to play around it, you can change geomancy to another option. But I needed to point out this problem. And however, geomancy have a lot of advantages on its own. Let me explain it to you. So let me explain to you some of the advantages that work with geomancy. First, this thing will not trigger Ancient Seed. As you see, I stunned it, but nothing happened. So sadly, I can't show it here. I'm really smart choosing the place. Anyway, let's say you simply, like you're running from someone or something, and they're trying to stab you, or a thief trying to backstab you or something. So you can press Glyph of Equality to trigger a daze and immediately go to Celestial Avatar. The hit from Geomancy Sigil will trigger Ancient Seed, put the damage of Geomancy on the thief, and put also the damage of Doom Sigil. So you would be triggering both Sigil on the thief who's trying to hunt you, and you would be hitting him with Ancient Seed, and probably more damage if you already have something like Sharpened Stone up, which is a huge burst while you're simply kiting. You're not even facing the person. You simply press a Glyph of Equality and do that. So it is a hit, and it is an AoE hit, so that means if you do that and immediately go to Celestial Avatar, you will trigger Ancient Seed on everyone around you, not just that thief, the example that we gave. Every enemy around you will be triggered with Ancient Seed, since this is the hit skill or hit you used. So let me count the amount of ways that we can use to trigger Ancient Seed on multiple targets on this build. Simply using Glyph of Equality with any skill that will trigger multiple hits is either use of our Elite, since it will trigger the last tier of Crytrune that put Poison and Torment and Bleed on the enemy, and it does trigger Ancient Seed. Or we're gonna be going with Glyph of Equality and any other skill. So Glyph of Equality with skill 5 in Celestial Avatar, or even entering Celestial Avatar to trigger the Sigil. So the Sigil, skill 5 in Celestial Avatar, the Elite skill, all these are ways to do that. Or even Lightning Reflexes will trigger it on 3 targets only, since it do a small hit. So simply doing that and then this would trigger it, but that would be stupid because you used both of your stun break, so it is really stupid. Don't do it. I'm just saying it for the count. And also using something like Glyph Equality and then using the beam to go through 3 targets in front of you if they are close. If you're marking the last one, it will trigger Ancient Seed on every one of them. Now you can also use Celestial Avatar like that and trigger Ancient Seed on everyone around you. Or this one and triggering Entangle would do the same as Glyph of Equality. So all those ways to trigger Ancient Seed on multiple targets. Now another trick that you can use Sigil of Geomancy for is getting rid of blindness. So if a thief use dagger skill 3, which is shadow shot and blind you or something, or put a blind fear on you, so you can simply go to short bow to trigger the sigil around you. It will get rid of the blind. So I'm on my staff. Let's mimic the situation here. So I would get rid of the blind like this, probably dodge and stun him, and now I'm bursting him. Simple. Or use something like Glyph of Equality and start bursting immediately if I don't want to waste my dodge right now. So simple switch of weapon will cleanse the blindness because I hit him around me. It's of course wasted the damage because it will consume the stack of Doom, so you lost all the damage, but you got rid of the blindness if it's really crucial, and now you counter the enemy in front of you. And another benefit of using this combo of both sigil is you can punish people who trying to melee you. And it gives you an extra advantage like warriors, which you can land damage in a dodge. You see, a weapon switch will trigger the sigil, whether you're hitting, facing or not, whether you're dodging, whatever you're doing, it will still trigger the sigil. Look at what will happen here. I'm dodging, I wasn't hitting, but still I triggered both the sigils, giving him the bleed and the poison in a dodge. So you simply can dodge someone and still put a huge hit on them using both the sigil and forcing them to cleanse, or like at least they would have to do something about it at some point. So that all what you can get from those two sigil, and the combo of them is really beautiful. The only downside is what we said, that it will reveal you if you ended up with the wrong rotation or if you got forced into it. And we also talked about the survivability from this one. And what it does, like how it made fighting something like Condition Revenant incredibly easy after it was supposed to be a hard thing. It just increased our survivability significantly. Okay, now let's explain the most optimal way to use Celestial Avatar, since we already said that you shouldn't trigger the sigil with it. I already had a guide on how to use Celestial Avatar, but I wanted this video to be whole, so I'm gonna get into it right now, especially that we'll have different stuff. We used to say always go to staff before you use Celestial Avatar, but now you will actually use it on both weapons depending on the situation. If you're trying to kite and heal, cleanse condition and stuff, using your staff, kiting like that, wasting some time probably, stun projectile and stuff like this, and then can go to Celestial Avatar. And once you're in Celestial Avatar, you would use skill 2 and 3 in it to blast in it. Since it's a light field, it will trigger an area cleanse condition. In World vs World, it cleanse 4 condition, and with that combo it will cleanse 5, it will blind people around you, and you will get healed for the Seed of Life itself and for Lunar Impact, and you will daze everyone around you, and then you will trigger skill 5 to cause a hit to everyone around you. With that combo you would be cleansed 5 condition, blinded people around you, daze people around you, and trigger Ancient Seed on everyone around you, and healed also for Lunar Impact. So it would look like this. You would use that, and then trigger Herald 5 and stop immediately after starting the cast. You by simply pressing walk. After you remove your finger from walk, you would press it and you will start cancelling the channel of this. Because it is a power damage skill 5, and we are conditioned, it take a long time and put you in place, and it only if you finish casting and people take the final hit, they will be hitted with more immobilize, but you already have too much immobilize. It is not worth it on a condition build, unless people can't really cleave you and you're being really annoying to them or with other people, because you would be putting slow for someone trying to revive or something, and you would be putting incredible amount of immobilize. Like sometime I would do that against minion necromancer. If the minions can't hit me already and I dazed him and he's blind, like he also can't hit me for the duration of it, which is about 2.5 seconds. So if I can finish this cast safely and everything around me is can't functionally hit me, I would finish it and I would probably cleanse again or something, and then move away. Because now the amount of immobilize on the necromancer minions is incredibly long, and they can't remove it because they can't hit me and give me the condition because I'm away. So there's few situations where I do that, but mostly just don't do it. It's not worth it. It will waste time, it will waste Celestial Avatar, and now it will be harder to fill. Don't spend too much time in Celestial Avatar in a condition build. It's hard to fill. Now, another tip is you put this skill in the place you're gonna end after the delay. It take a delay before actually, as you see, it actually pop like this. So don't put it in your feet and you be out of it. Put it in the place you will be ending in it when it effectively casted. Another thing is, we don't want to waste time enough that after we leave Celestial Avatar, if we're in short bow, we trigger the sigil of geomancy and doom. And that's why we need to calculate our movement inside it. For most of the time, this is not even a problem, because you will be doing this, and trigger this, and just leave, and steps. So for most time, that's not a problem at all. But if you wanted to spend more time, like you're fighting in a melee range and you're okay, you don't care, you can wait enough to trigger actually the sigil if you want, like if you don't want the stealth at this point. But I would usually do this trigger a single hit and walk and get 2 pulses only and leave. 2 pulses from the second heal, the skill number 4, is the fastest that you can get from it. If you trigger the third, the time become too much. I have calculated this stuff. And the second pulse is the first pulse come immediately, the second pulse come like in the amount of the time when you're cancelling, so it become a little bit effective. So always try to avoid wasting time in Cesti Avatar. Don't wait for another lunar impact. You will always then trigger this sigil again. If you wasn't short bow, you will always trigger it again. And another lunar impact is not worth it anyway. The healing is not that big comparing to how much CA you will be end up losing and needing to refill. That means you will be too late on Celestia Avatar. This is a mistake some people fall for, that they waste too much time in Cesti Avatar. You can, however, use Cesti Avatar fully if you're supporting other people, if you're helping them and they're helping you, so you would afford to lose that much. But most of the time, you can help people through your damage and immobilize better. A simple stun with entangle is way more effective than curing someone from few conditions the person you stabbed by this stun was put on him. So try to support people by being aggressive sometimes can be better, but you measure the situation. The general idea, don't waste time inside Celestia Avatar. Now to continue on Celestia Avatar stuff, my food choices is a utility for condition damage that we get from world vs world, this merchant that we can purchase, or those boxes if you choose the canned food crate, it will give you 6, if you choose them, 6 of this one for a single box. Or feel free to use anything of the trading post, but use a food that gives you health over time, every second. It will offer you almost 20 to 30% of survivability. On this form of build, it's got lower to about 20%, but it is really helpful to Celestia Avatar. Everything in World vs World count your power, so please use something like this. If you're rich and you want to go Ascended, this is the best one, because it gives you 45 to every attributes, condition damage, toughness, vitality, healing, concentration, expertise, everything. And if you're really loaded, you can go with holographic cake, since we are in the event right now, because it is probably the most powerful food you can use. It will give you higher endurance regeneration and health over time. Now let's explain more about the bit choices. The first bit that we use, do not change it, is exclusively Gazal, my favorite. This bit has 2 CC skills, high bar damage through 2 skills, and it just functions really great. It is really tanky with a good health pool, so it is hard to kill. And the fact that it uses this skill to run for 900 range and keep moving around make it hard to be able to pin it down and kill it easily, and we want our bit to stay alive. So it functions to our favor in a way. But the first thing it will do, it will use charge, triggering these to 3 targets in a line, 900 range, decent bar damage, and will mean it will trigger your Ancient Seed. See, I do this like that, and boom, it works Ancient Seed on the first target. And after that, it will auto attack and then triggers this hit that do really decent melee damage for everything in front of it. And then you have an extra CC for 1 target, launch, with basically no damage, but it will trigger another Ancient Seed, or interrupt a down state, or interrupt raising for a body, or just locking people to more CC while you're fighting them, like preventing them from using their skill, or they have to waste a stun break or something like that. So it is just beautiful, don't change it. 2 stun breaks, 2 CCs is just what we need. We want more CC. But on this build in general, since we have those sigils that we talked about, multiple sources of applying damage just like that, and multiple sources of survivability because of the cleansing and energy, better ability to kite, we don't count on countering other people with CC to survive. I didn't use iboga before because one of the main reasons I wanted 2 CC skills which Electric Wyvern offer me. 25-second cooldown and a 30-second cooldown. Those 2 skills are knockback and a lunge for multiple targets. They actually hit multiple targets, even if it doesn't show it. And that was a key point. It work on a down body, like lunge would work on a down body, would work on a raise, would work on everything. It's just beautiful. Now we don't need that much CC. Even so, it would be better, and I still use Electric Wyvern. Some of you might assume I use iboga after the last video, but I don't. I use iboga or Electric Wyvern depending on the situation. So I found Electric Wyvern to still be better on outnumber situation when you want to get the down stage, when you want to bowl people on each other's bait, like baiting someone with another one, or just countering with too much CC, like handling a situation. Electric Wyvern can be sometimes better. But if you really want to count on your skills, if you want to bowl people off ledges, if you want to control your enemy's position, which I will explain the things that you can do with iboga, then iboga can work better. And for most 1v1s, iboga can be better unless you actually would want the extra CC, it would mean the difference. Then iboga is just better, it will offer you cover coundies. As you see, its skills giving you on a 15-second only cooldown a field from 1000 range that gives 6 pulses of confusion, and a single target projectile from 900 range that gives confusion and torment, which mean 5-second cooldown. Unless you're talking about a cleansing skill that will cleanse every second or every 2 seconds, like interval, like healing spring for ranger, or something like spectral walk for necro. Every cooldown in the game mostly function on a 10-second cooldown. You can have multiple cleanses, but each cleanse never is more effective than this. So this one give you a really decent cover condi, if not some damage to yourself too, or on your enemy in general, which why iboga is really effective. And also it gives you a CC, which is a projectile. So this is a projectile and this is a projectile. From 1200 range you would bowl someone to 1200 range. So like from, it's longer than short bow, it's like staff. If someone really far, it will bowl it right to your face, immobilize it for 1 second, and you would be already putting more damage on him, triggering Ancient Seed to lock him where you are. And you can use this really effectively. If someone on a ledge or a wall, you can bowl them down. If you're running from someone and iboga behind you, and someone running behind you, so you would be hunting him, you can bowl them back, so they would be way back from you where iboga is. Or if they're running from you, you can bowl them so they would come to you. So you can control the enemy's position, which really effective to use in PvP too, to bowl people off point, which really good. The downside of this skill, it is a projectile. I explained it in why I don't use iboga. You can watch the video, you would see things in detail, like the things I talk about, you would see it with your eyes, like the fact that it could trigger Ancient Seed in a different location from the one that it bolted. If you bowl someone from far to you, it can trigger Ancient Seed on a different way, like if you're on the side or something. The point is, it is kind of buggy in a way, but it is a projectile. And this one is a projectile, so it can be stopped, it can be reflected, it can be just avoided completely. And also, since it is a projectile to bowl, you can't bowl dead bodies through a CC, so it cannot be used to interrupt a down state. It can be used to interrupt a raise if the person doesn't run a trait that will help with raise in a projectile reflection, like Mesmer or Guardian. But it can be used that, so it has its downside. Also, it is really weak, really fragile, really low toughness, really low health, and it can be killed easily, and I would be punished to go to gazal, and gazal would have to be alive for even longer, which means it can be killed also, which will mean you will be punished again. So it has its downside, it would need a different management. So it's not perfect, it's not simply better than Electric Wyvern. Electric Wyvern have higher toughness, higher health pool, and more CC, which even can mean it can save itself through knocking the person down, launching them, and just avoiding the damage through that, something like a CC. So that's for the bit. You can use gazal, and the other bit is up to your choice. And that will be it for the video. I hope you like it, enjoy it, and find it informative. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be leaving you now with some fights. Maybe I would, if I found something I need to say or explain, like more information or tip on a fight, I would be writing on it or something. So I believe in you with it now. Tell me what you think in the comments, or if you have further questions, you can join the Discord too. You can talk to me on it. I just did it for the people anyway. So that's it, and I will be seeing you next time. Peace.
In the corner of the room, not ready to resume, 'cause like I'm taking, don't wanna be alone, but I'm not in the zone. I'm looking for somebody, I'm looking for somebody, I'm looking for somebody.
Devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand, bang, got my hand, bang, got my hand.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. Look behind your back. Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Go in.